So I'm back with Live Ghost and a track I haven't heard before. So even some of the best laid plans can sometimes occasionally change tack, right? And some of you ghosties who are familiar with this channel know full well, I've always tended to want to listen to a new song in terms of the studio version first. But I kind of changed that a couple of weeks ago when I listened to the song Rats. And that was due to the fact that you guys were so persuasive and you said, you've got to check out the live version. So I did. And guess what? I'm back here again. Yeah, you know Ghost better than I do. I'm just a newbie. And so many of you said, listen, this track is fantastic. It's brilliant live. So even though I haven't listened to the studio version, I'm going to check it out. So today we're going to check Respite on the Spitalfields. Yeah. And it's, back at the LA Forum on the Right Here, Right Now production. Now, I've been told that there is some reference to the Victorian serial killer, Jack the Ripper. But as I've learned over the last couple of months, Tobias Forge does tend to have other meanings in his songs. So I'm kind of guessing it's the same with this one. But we'll cover that after the live performance. Okay, let's do it. Alrighty. Ah, Papa loves his fans. How nice. Good on you, Papa. It's a beautiful melody. It's nice, isn't it? Nice riff, man. Whoa. That's powerful, man. Wow. The vocals. Paying his respects to the ghoul, or one of the nameless ghouls. Okay, what's this change? It reminds me of something, actually. Very atmospheric, isn't it? Back to that cool riff. The beautiful melody, man. He really loves his fans, huh? Whoa. Wow, look at that. Adieu. Oh, this must be the last song then. Yeah, he's waving. Wow. The vocals, man. Oh, he's back stage again. Whoa, that's a real show climax, huh? Whoa. That's something else, huh? Wow. What's going on here? That is a powerful ending, isn't it? Those vocals, bloody hell.
Très bien, folks. Very well. Well played.
Played.
So, yeah, thank you. Thanks. See you around.
See you around. Way. That was a powerful track. And not in a heavy riff kind of way, but in emotion and melody and those backing vocals, man. That was impressive. Mind you, I have to say, I was chuckling to myself when Papa came off. It just made me laugh because he was wearing that black jacket on stage. You know, stylish black jacket. But he goes backstage, okay, and then he puts on this really extravagant sparkly jacket on. That just made me chuckle. Should be the other way around, shouldn't it? And then he says très bien as well. Papa showing off his French. I don't know, maybe, are the Nameless Schools French, maybe? Is that something I don't know? Perhaps. Then again, he just said adieu to a bunch of Californians, right? So he's probably just enjoying himself in some kind of Gallic groove, if you know what I mean. But, well, yeah, that's Ghost stage show. That's impressive, man. The way they use the lighting as well. I mean, it's just lighting, but it's so effective. And around that stained glass window backdrop as well. And you've got to say, the band sounds so good live, right? I mean, they're proper musicians. You can just hear and see it, right? The song has some great melodies, right? And I don't know whether, because this is the live version, but if the studio version is the same, but the backing vocals on this is way more prominent than other tracks I've heard. In a way, it kind of reminds me of how Pink Floyd use backing vocals to add that epic layer. You know what I mean? Really effective. Whoa. And yeah, you know, there was this one section, right? And I was thinking, it reminds me of something. There's this guitar riff. It's like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know that part? I now remember. It reminds me of Whitesnake. The thing is, on one of the previous reactions, I said there was a part that reminded me of the Scorpions. And then one of you actually sent me a message saying, actually, Tobias is influenced by the Scorpions. Well, I think I heard Whitesnake in there as well. So I'm assuming that was also an influence of Tobias. And we all know how much of a master he is at bringing things together and moulding it into his own shape and form. And yeah, he's, like I said, he's a real master at that, right? But again, that ending was just epic, man. Really impressive. And I can see why you guys wanted me to see it, because that was top notch. Really good. Really good. Well, I suppose I better quickly have a look at the text. I wasn't looking at the text, but I know there's a reference to Jack the Ripper. We're here in the after of a murderous crafter. The past is spun like a yarn and mangled, with flesh and blood and bone. With flesh and blood and bones. I wonder, did no one hear the distant thunder? The autumnal reaper, the stains of this creeper will last, the shine and the sham entangled. Like salting earth with tears of Jesus, he sliced and diced our dreams to pieces. Yeah, and there's a lot of reference to blood and the slash of his steel. For the lost and misled were promised seats by the pit. So there's obvious referencing to the serial killer, right? I suppose you have to cover the historic aspect of it a little bit. There were in total 11 murders between 1888 and 1891 around the Whitechapel area of the East End of London. However, there are only 5 murders that the police think were the work of the Ripper. And these 5 are known as the canonical 5. Canonical is kind of a meaning that these are the authoritative list of Jack the Ripper murders. The others, it's all speculation. But they think that these 5 were definitely by the same guy. And not wanting to go into too much gory detail, as each victim was found, murdered, the mutilations became more severe and extreme. As if, you know, the murderer was escalating in his intensity and whatever, you know, with the violence and everything. Now, we talk about Respite on the Spitalfields. Spitalfields was actually the last murder of the canonical 5. That was the last one. And the murders took place between the end of August till November. And in the lyric, you see they mention the autumnal reaper. So, there's a mention, Respite for the Spitalfields. That's the Spitalfield was the last canonical 5 murder. And the autumnal reaper. Yeah, it all happened around autumn. I think actually the first one was end of August. Is that autumn? Oh, doesn't matter. So a little background. The East End of London at that time basically was a slum, an overcrowded slum. And yeah, where there's poverty and slum-like areas, you get a lot of crime, a lot of robberies, lots of alcohol dependency, all that kind of stuff. And the murders stopped all of a sudden. And nobody knows whether it's because the killer himself was dead or institutionalized or emigrated, whatever. However, there is a British author by the name of, what's his name? Russell Edwards. And he bought a shawl of one of the victims at an auction. And when he got it, he got the garment DNA tested. Okay? And they found, off the one strand, a 99.2% match, DNA match, and off the second strand, a 100% match. And it came back to a man called Aaron Kominski, who was a Polish Jew who worked in Whitechapel, which was where all of the murders were happening, and he was a hairdresser. Okay? And apparently, this guy was institutionalized in 1891 for threatening his sister with a knife. Now, there's many DNA experts who actually say, nah, this isn't proof of anything. And the reason why they say that is that the shawl could have been handed many times over, and it could have been contaminated by many people who shared the same DNA profiles. So ultimately, you know, people are still searching for an identity, but Russell Edwards, the author, still believes he found the guy. But anyway, going now to the underlying meaning of Tobias, again, there seems to be like some kind of social commentary on poverty and crime, I think. So in other words, the worst things can happen in these situations, right? And I suppose Victorian London is one of the best examples of wealth inequality ever. Because you had the ultra elite, all the posh snobs, and you had abject poverty as well. I mean, literally. I mean, they were sending kids up chimneys, weren't they, to clean chimneys back then. So if you want to highlight wealth inequality in history, Victorian London is like the perfect example, you know. And of course, today we are starting to see more wealth inequality, not just in third world countries, but everywhere, you know. The super rich seem to be getting richer and looking for tax breaks. And yeah, poverty rates are increasing as well. You know, in the Mummy Dust song, I thought, or at least the message I got, was that he was kind of having a dig at the super wealthy, you know, the perverse nature of the super wealthy. So I think Tobias is delivering a message on wealth inequality and the negative circumstances that can come out of it, you know, and he's just using Victorian England or Victorian London and that particular caption in history as, you know, a sign of what can happen, you know. And I think one other thing you have to take into consideration with Tobias, he's Swedish, and I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of Swedes over the years, and the one thing you get from them is not just that in general they're really nice people with a great sense of humour, but you also get to learn a little bit about their culture, which actually I've also found that with Danish people as well. But in their culture, there's a big emphasis on quality of life, a balance between work and leisure, and it's not just about chasing wealth, you know, it's about equality and the whole community doing well and being happy, not just everyone out for their own to earn as much money as possible. And I think that also, if Tobias has that background in Scandinavia where they have those ideals, yeah, when he goes and sees other countries where the super wealthy are just getting richer and richer and richer, and then you see homeless people in the streets. Yeah, in Sweden they have a lot more of a community-based approach. You know, it's not all about being super rich, it's about everybody in the whole society doing all right, you know. So I think maybe that's also another reason why Tobias comes from this angle, you know. But yeah, man, I absolutely get why you wanted me to see this live version. Like I said, the musicianship is great. They sound fantastic live. And the show looks brilliant, to be fair. I've also got to say, Papa putting on the sparkly jacket backstage. Again, I'm loving the humour, you know. So yeah, love it. Really, really cool, man. That was so impressive. Thanks for that, guys.